Good afternoon. Friends, neighbors, and partners, we are so glad that you can be here with us today. We're so excited to celebrate the opening of the Hope Center and Berkeley Way and our new residents that get to call it home. Thank you to Sutter Health for sponsoring today's event and your ongoing support to the Hope Center. Today you're going to hear from several of our partners who helped this building become a reality and who firmly believe that housing is a human right. This is truly a historic moment as we bring online the largest building of affordable and permanent supportive housing in Berkeley's history. We have 150 low-income households along with 44 beds of transitional housing for our neighbors in need. Our meals program will serve all residents as well as people within our community who are experiencing food insecurity. We'll also have lifelong medical on site along with Berkeley Mental Health providing medical and mental health support. I would like to thank every single person who had a part in making this building happen, but we would be here all afternoon. So I would like everyone to give themselves a round of applause because this was truly a community effort. This project grew from the singular vision of one incredible woman, Terry Light. When I asked her if she'd like to speak today, she declined, but I appreciate her jumping up and down. I can say with certainty that we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for her. Terry, thank you. You've made a tremendous impact on so many people. I am so excited to share that we are at 90% occupancy. I would also like to thank Dorothy Walker, who has been a champion of equitable housing for decades in Berkeley and played a key role in realizing the vision of the Hope Center. Thank you for your support and all that you do to uplift those most in need. Finally, thank you to Mayor Jesse Araguin, our Vice Mayor Kate Harrison, Alameda County, specifically Alameda County Board Supervisor Keith Carson, as well as our development partners, Bridge Housing, our contractors, Nibby Brothers, our architects, LMS, and our property managers, John Stewart Company. It's been such a great experience working with all of you to make this incredible project happen. Thank you to the resilient and brave Berkeley Food and Housing Project team and board of directors who have helped bring this project into existence and worked tirelessly every day to see it succeed. At BFHP, our clients stand at the center of everything that we do. Every day we have the privilege of meeting with people who have shown incredible strength, creativity, and resilience in the face of circumstances that we would not wish upon our loved ones or our neighbors. I recently had the pleasure of meeting one of our new residents, Michael. He experienced chronic homelessness for over 30 years before moving to the Hope Center. During that time, he raised 5 healthy and happy children, worked within the community, looked out for his neighbors, and stood up for those who could not defend themselves. He's also well known for sharing a thought of the day, and I'd like to invite him up here to join me to share a thought of the day with all of you today. Michael?
Thank you. I see somebody I ain't seen in years. The thought for today. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. But be patient, because some people's nights are longer than others, because God's preparing you for a brighter day. And what that means to me for this moment is Terry wept for days, and other people wept to make this happen. The landowners, the pipe fitters, they had times where they weep, well, maybe this is not going to be here in time, or this is going to end in time, but it all got here. And then the patience for many of us who lived on the street, pushing a cart with some cardboard in it and hoping that when we get to our spot, we can be there. But the brighter day, the Hope Center is the brighter day. And this, I didn't plan this, but the Hope Center, hope, helping overcome poverty every day. Have a good one.
Thank you, Michael. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Berkeley Mayor Jesse Arreguín.
On behalf of the City of Berkeley, it's with great pride to be here today to celebrate the opening of the Hope Center in Berkeley Way Apartments. And today is the culmination of over 10 years of tireless work by so many people, so many that I can't list them all today. We would be here for many hours, but I want to recognize a few. And today we realize the vision that started in 2009, that our city can and must end homelessness, that we must provide safe, dignified shelter for our unhoused neighbors. And I do believe that this project is a model for cities throughout our state of having integrated shelter, supportive services, and housing all in one vertically integrated building with the goal of creating a true pathway to permanent housing. This building is a recognition at its core that housing is the solution to ending homelessness. And if we think about what was here before and what we have now, a surface level parking lot, and now we have 142 units of permanent housing, transitional housing, and emergency shelter, it's truly remarkable. And throughout the long and winding road to get here, and it was long, and it was winding, there were many bumps along the way, but whether it was funding or how much parking we should replace here, but we overcame those obstacles. And here we are at the end of the road. And I think that this project shows that if we can think big, if we work hard, we can accomplish big things as a community. And it's also the result of a community-wide effort. And I'm proud that we now have new neighbors here, some of whom previously lived in our parks and on our streets for years, who can now call this beautiful building home. We're here today to welcome them, and also to thank the many people who helped make this project a reality. As the saying goes, it takes a village, and it truly was a village in this case. So I'm going to recognize a few people who I'm sure will be recognized later on. I want to first thank Terry Light for her bold vision for the Hope Center and her determination to get this project done. Terry, we thank you for your incredible leadership, and I'm glad that we can now honor you permanently through a display in the lobby of the Hope Center, so anyone who passes through these doors can know what Terry did to make this project happen. I want to thank the state of California. We're joined by our Undersecretary and our State Senator Nancy Skinner for the critical funding that helped close the gap to finance this project. And I want to thank the many private lenders for their generous support for realizing this vision. I'd like to also thank my colleagues on the Berkeley City Council, and we have Vice Mayor Kate Harrison, and please raise your hand if I recognize you. Councilmember Ben Bartlett, Councilmember Rigel Robinson, and former members of the council, our former Mayor Tom Bates, and former City Council member Linda Mayo, who's also with us today, both of whom were critical champions in making this project happen. But we know that our city staff are really the people that work behind the scenes to help deliver these projects. And I just want to highlight a few that were really instrumental in working with Bridge and with BFHP to help deliver this critical project. And if you're here, please raise your hand so we can properly recognize you. Amy Davidson from Health Housing Community Services. Jenny Wyant, also from Health Housing Community Services. Dr. Lisa Barhus, the Director of Health Housing Community Services. Sharon Gong in the Planning Department, and also our whole Planning Department. Beth Thomas from the Department of Public Works. Peter Radu from our City Manager's Office. And of course, our City Manager, Dee Williams-Ridley, who I believe is with us here today as well. And most importantly, Paul Budenhagen, our Deputy City Manager, for championing this project. Thank you, Paul. And lastly, I want to thank the voters of Berkeley for your strong support of affordable housing and ending homelessness, and for the funding that you authorized through approving Measure O, our affordable housing bond, and Measure P, our transfer tax increase in 2018, both of which were critical to help finance this project. The building we are standing in front of today shows that we as a city and a community can deliver on the promises that we make to our voters. And so, as we are just a few days from Election Day, I will urge all those Berkeley residents here today to vote yes on Measure L, to provide $200 million to build and preserve affordable homes so that we can continue the progress that we're making to keep Berkeley diverse and affordable. In closing, as I've said many times before, this project is my proudest accomplishment, my 18 years of public service in this city. And it fills me with such great pride and gratitude for so many people, some of whom are assembled here today, who helped make this possible. And I do believe it goes to show that we can create paradise out of a parking lot. Thank you all. And I'm now honored to introduce my colleague, former BFHB board member and the Vice Mayor for the City of Berkeley, Kate Harrison, to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. 13 years ago, Terry and many of the board members that I see here today started with an idea that was based in hope. And we still come, as former President Bill Clinton said, from a place of hope. Hope for a better life for people. We also come from a place of faith, of the ability of people to restore their lives and to turn them around. What we don't come from, though, is a place of charity. Charity implies a handout, and we all know that we are all only one paycheck, one schedule change, one health crisis, one pandemic away from housing insecurity and homelessness. And there, but for the grace of God or whoever you believe in, go we. So therefore, today, I am celebrating hope and faith, and hope that our community will continue on this journey to provide homes for everyone and to ensure that we come together in a delightful future that embraces everyone's humanity. Thank you very much. I'd like to now introduce Ken Lombard from Bridge Housing. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ken Lombard, the CEO of Bridge Housing, and it's an honor to be here to celebrate the ribbon cutting with Berkeley Food and Housing Project on this incredible A-team, all of which have come together and worked very, very hard to produce what, frankly, if you need to figure out what it takes to get a project done, this is the place to come. If you want to figure out the type of project to get done, here it is right here, the Hope Center. So I joined Bridge about a year ago, so I get to come and do all this stuff here, but I'm not going to tell you at all that I can't take any of the credit for the heavy lifting that's taken place here. But what we do know is as our cities face an unprecedented crisis, and frankly, I was inspired by the mission of Bridge, the reputation of Bridge, and it's projects like this that frankly have positioned Bridge as really one of the critical nonprofit organizations to be able to go at this crisis throughout the state. We frankly are up and down the West Coast, but for the state of California, you know this is near and dear to our heart. As you know, and I think it was mentioned by the mayor, that we must do better, we can do better, and this is the start of many more to come. Berkeley Way and the Hope Center are going to deliver a continuum of quality, affordable homes and services to help people thrive. That's part of our mission, and we have a project here that frankly is doing exactly what we all are expecting it to do. And And today, we're looking at and witnessing what's possible when an A team of folks, lots of which we've mentioned, if we get everybody and go through all the names, we'd be here for another 2 days. But it really it shows what can happen when a plan truly comes together. Transformational, and I emphasize that, projects like this are really what it takes to go at this crisis in ways that we can begin to see the types of improvements, and it's going to take everyone. It takes a village to make these things happen. I think first of all, I think they've given us 2 minutes, so I'm going to try to rush through the rest of this. I got Lynn staring at me saying, okay, your time is running out here. First of all, Colleen and the team at Berkeley Food and Housing Project, it's a privilege to partner with you. But I also want to make sure that LMS and Nibby Brothers for designing and building this beautiful building get some credit today. But last but not least, we would not be here without a talented team from Bridge. And I want to start with our board chair, Ken Novak, who none of these projects would get approved if Ken doesn't say it's okay, and the rest of the board. I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Ken and the rest of the board. But the folks that were on the ground working, we had a talented project management team, John, project manager, and John McCall, Anna, Smitha, Brad, Leo, Asia, and the entire Bridge team. I know I saw Delphine Sherman, who's got her accounting team out here. Delphine's our CFO. I noticed that Susan Johnson, who has been around Bridge for a long time and recently retired, and her husband, James Valva. So I just want you to take a moment and give the Bridge team, raise your hands, all of you, and a huge round of applause. I think it's fitting that we're here in front of the Hope Center. It should all give us great hope that there are opportunities to celebrate new homes and services that are going to benefit Berkeley for years to come. And now it's my pleasure to introduce the next speaker, Senator Nancy Skinner. Thank you.
Threw that down. Great to see you all. I'm so happy to be here and celebrate that this is completed, that people have moved in, and it's been a long time coming, as was referenced. We need many, 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 many more of these. So I say that not in any way to dampen our incredible enthusiasm, joy, and support for today, but what's happening these days is that each unit of housing like this that we are providing, another person becomes homeless or unhoused, and we still have the need. So Berkeley, in the latest housing count, had 1,000 people that were unhoused. And that housing count only counts the people that we can find in the cars or on the sidewalk or in the street, not the many, many couch surfers or the many other people that are extraordinarily housing insecure. So we got to figure there's probably 1,500 to 2,000, and maybe I'm even being too low in that estimate. And every one of our cities in the entire state faces it. And so, as the state senator, I've been doing everything I can to increase the ability for everyone who's trying to produce housing to be able to produce it. I've been trying, as state budget chair, put good amounts of funding, significant amounts of funding into housing, especially for those who have been homeless or are homeless, and services. And I also want to I want to reinforce what the vice mayor said. We have some myths. We think that everyone who is unhoused is addicted or mentally ill. That is not the case. It is absolutely not the case. Any one of us could become unhoused at any point. That is how frail the safety net is in our state and nation. And so when any one of us could face that, then we just know how important it is to look at housing as essential of infrastructure as roads and sidewalks, and if not more essential than roads and sidewalks. And so we have to do everything we can to get affordable housing, get housing for our formerly homeless, and get more housing overall, because part of why people lose their housing is because there's not enough of it. We have a supply crisis. But lastly, I want to say I'm very proud that the state was able to come in and help, and the state, from our Housing and Community Development Department and our state treasurer's office, provided $11 million in funding for this project, so I'm very, very proud of that. And I also want to give a shout out to Terry. Thank you, Terry, for your vision, and of course to all of the partners from the city, from Bridge, from Berkeley Food and Housing, from everyone who has supported this and helped to become a reality. Let's make 1,000 more of these bloom. Thank you. And now, I would very pleased to introduce Melinda Grant, who is our Undersecretary for Housing, or California Business and Consumer Services from the Office of Governor Newsom. Melinda.
I'm so full. I am so full and just so pleased and honored to be here on behalf of Governor Newsom and our Secretary, Castro Ramirez, of the Business Consumer Services and Housing Agency. We oversee over 12 entities, half of which are related to housing, one of which you've heard about, the Housing Community Development Department. We also partner with the Strategic Growth Council, which provides a lot of the funding that was part of this project. And I would just say, just from a mission base of where we stand as it relates to preventing and ending homelessness, affordable housing for all, safeguarding civil rights, fair housing, it is all about collaboration. And I think what's so absolutely beautiful about this moment and this time and this celebration is the level of, we've heard about transformation, we've heard about collaboration, but we see the data, like many of you. We see the applications, we see the paper, I see the employees, we have over 7,000 of them. So many of them who I stand with in partnership, who is back at the office, they are here with you also. They are behind the desk working with you. Thank you, Mayor, for just reminding us of how many folks are involved in this project, how many staff it takes, and it definitely does take all of us. And so the partnership in general is just absolutely overwhelming, but overwhelming in a good way, to go to the Senator's point about we're not done by any means. We are very, very encouraged. We continue to build upon the momentum. We are extremely grateful to the legislature for the partnership, because there is a shared mission to prevent and end homelessness and, of course, provide housing for all. So there's a few other little comments I did just want to make, is that the Director of Housing Community Development, who couldn't be here with us today, just shout out to Gustavo Velasquez, and the Executive Director, yes, hi Gustavo, and our Executive Director of the Strategic Growth Council, Lynn von Koch-Lubert, who's actually leading the council of many of our cabinet members right now, hopefully, approving more funding for more projects like this. So thank you again so much for having us, again, on behalf of the governor, on behalf of the state and all of our partners. Congratulations, it's an honor to be here, and let's keep it going. With that, I'd like to introduce Christian Daly of the California State Treasurer's Office.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of California State Treasurer Fiona Ma, who is a chair of the California Debt Allocation Committee, and also the California Tax Credit Allocation Committee, who provided the tax credits to help in the development of the Hope Center in Berkeley Way. Thank you. We all know that hope is a very powerful catalyst of life. From the activation of a tiny seed that grows into a mighty oak, reaching towards the heavens as it pushes the soil, or the eruption of a volcano spewing out ash and lava as it creates new land. But finally, the same is true of the heart receiving these words, welcome home. And today, that's what's happening. There are folks who are already here and those that will come, and they get that opportunity. They get the hope of a new life. And so, on behalf of the treasurer, again, we want to thank you for all of the work that's been done. And to mark this occasion, I would like to present certificates of recognition to both Ken and Colleen. If we can do that at this time. And as I make my way to the seat, I would also like to introduce Michelle Starrett, who's the Housing Director for Alameda County. So thank you for this time.
Thank you all very much for having me. It's very exciting. We've been working on this project for a long time partnership with Berkeley Food and Housing, so really excited that, that this has finally come to fruition. I'm here on behalf of Supervisor Carson, who couldn't make it today. We are super excited for all of our partnerships with all of our cities. This project is funded by Measure A1. That is one of those bonds that you all voted for that allows us to build more housing. And this project got a $20 million investment from the county, specifically from that bond. And so given that it is election day, vote housing. Truly, vote housing, because we cannot build more housing without the funding. And we're gonna run out of funding if we don't keep supporting these types of efforts. So I just wanna say to everyone here that in order to meet this need and solve this housing and homeless crisis, we are gonna need those resources. And so thank you to the state, thank you to the city for all of its bonds, and also thank you to the county for getting those dollars out the door. And so I'm super excited.
What a great day in Berkeley, isn't it? This Hope Center is physical proof, and you all are living proof that when we work together, when we pull in the same direction, we can prevent and end homelessness. And I am here on behalf of HUD today. My name is Ed Cabrera, and on behalf of our regional administrator, Jason Poo, who sends his regards, Mr. Mayor, to tell you that you have a committed partner in HUD and in this administration to continue to invest in the great need that State Senator Skinner so aptly pointed out. And I'm here to deliver a couple of messages. First, yes, the need is great, but the resources are coming. And we have a significant proposal in the president's budget that will deliver on those resources, hopefully. And that includes $32 billion in housing choice vouchers. That amounts to in excess of 200,000 new vouchers, if that gets approved. And HUD, as you know, funds your local continuum of care collaboratives. And through that, we expect hopefully $3.5 billion in targeted homeless assistance grants for our states and communities across the country. And that includes Alameda County and Berkeley, of course. We also have had significant investments under this administration. In June of 2022, our Secretary, Marcia Fudge, announced significant investments in unsheltered homelessness to deal with the pervasive problem of street and homelessness and homelessness in encampments in our communities. That includes over $300 million for this issue, specifically to fund homeless outreach, to fund permanent housing and supportive services, the very components that have made and will make the Hope Center a success and really a jewel in your neighborhood. We will also fund $43 million to fund approximately 4,000 new incremental vouchers, which will be allocated via a separate notice. So resources are coming, in short. I will also say that the good news is, thanks to you all here and what you've accomplished. We know how to do this. Now it's just a matter of bridging what we know with what we practice and having this replicated across the region. So thank you for having me. We're office in San Francisco, so we're neighbors and we're here for the long term. I'm happy to have Ashley Wolf, our colleague from the regional office, here today. Please count on us, and we're committed partners. Thank you. Paul Carney is up next from Merritt Community Capital. Paul.
Good afternoon. On behalf of Merritt Community Capital, I wanted to congratulate the Berkeley Food and Housing Project and Bridge Housing on the opening of this amazing project. I'd also like to acknowledge all of the financing, development, and construction partners that contributed to this project. It's easy to be impressed when you see a completed project that's amazing like this, but we all know that these projects don't just happen. They take a tremendous effort, they take commitment, and they take perseverance from a team of committed developers, designers, and contractors, not to mention the wide range of local, state, and federal partners needed to build affordable housing. And as much work as it takes to get to this point, there is an equal or even greater challenge and effort needed to create a sustainable long-term community. That work is done on a daily basis by the on-site staff, the property managers, and the supportive services team that will be committed to this property for the long term. At Merritt, we believe everyone should have a home in a community where they can thrive, and this project is perfectly aligned with that vision. We are proud to partner with all of you on the creation of this critically needed housing that provides innovative solutions to the growing need for affordable housing. So I want to thank you again to everyone who contributed to this project, and we look forward to seeing the impact this project will have in this community for years to come. And now I'd like to introduce Matt Ryline, from the CEO of the National Equity Fund.
Good afternoon. My name's Matt Ryline. I'm with the National Equity Fund, and we're a Chicago-based national nonprofit investor in affordable housing. So it is always great to be in a state, a county, and a city that clearly appreciates affordable housing so much. So give yourselves a round of applause. On behalf of my colleagues at NEF, and particularly Todd Fabian and Lisa Decker, who are California-based, I want to thank Bridge Housing and the Berkeley Food and Housing Project for allowing us to be a small part of your project. This is this type of project is perhaps the best example in modern America of a public-private nonprofit partnership of local, state, and national resources coming together, all in the effort to create affordable housing to promote the lives and enhance the lives of our most vulnerable of our population. So in the spirit of that, I encourage you all in the coming week or 10 days to remember to vote and to support affordable housing and vote for leaders that are going to support the partnership, the public-private nonprofit partnership that comes together to create projects like this here in Berkeley and all across the country. Thank you. And I'm now happy to introduce Kenji Tamaoke, the Executive Director of Agency Originations at PGIM Real Estate.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of PGIM Real Estate and Freddie Mac, I'm very honored to congratulate everyone who was involved in creating this fantastic property. It's really an honor and a privilege that we were also involved. But on a personal note, this is one of the most exciting properties that I've worked on in the 30 years that I've been involved in affordable housing. You know, on the finance side, my projects usually get measured in dollars or in buildings or square feet. But I feel like, certainly for myself, and I probably speak on behalf of many of you, at the end of the day, what this really is about is improving the lives of people, of giving them the resources to improve their standings and overcome their obstacles. And this building really transforms into an architectural form that goal. The stories that I can imagine over the next decades of people who will be able to say that at one point they were homeless and they moved into the Hope Center and they received support that enabled them to overcome their obstacles, and then they moved into permanent housing. And then from there, they were able to get more support, and then who knows exactly what they're going to be able to accomplish. I just can't imagine the number of amazing and fantastic stories. And when I think about crunching numbers, it's not just about that, it's about giving those hundreds and possibly thousands of families and individuals that opportunity in the future. So it's really with that in mind that is a great honor to have been involved in this project. And again, congratulations and thank you. I'd now like to introduce Ann McCulloch with the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco.
Thank you. You know, I don't have this in my notes, but this lineup of how many financing sources it has taken to produce this is a larger statement about some bad choices we have all made. But nonetheless, it has worked, and we are in a really good place today, and I'm really proud and excited about it. I want to thank the mayor for your commitment to increasing the amount of affordable housing in Berkeley, and I want you to know that we at the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco want to partner with you more and more and more. Keep going. We want to be there. Today, this opening is such a tremendous accomplishment, and we're so proud to be a very tiny part of it. The partnership between Berkeley Food and Housing Project and Bridge Housing is the type of collaboration that really is making a difference in our communities and in the lives of all of us. This project also epitomizes what we hope to accomplish with our Affordable Housing Program grants. And these grants reflect our longstanding commitment to providing resources that can help our communities have the housing they need. The grants empower our member institutions to make a difference in their communities, and they work in partnership with housing providers to build, rehab, and make a difference in housing. It's a competitive program, and our partner on this deal, Silicon Valley Bank, was instrumental in leading the way for this project to be a grant winner. With the support of Silicon Valley Bank and the work, dedication, and commitment demonstrated by so many of you here today, downtown Berkeley has something we're just so proud of. This is really a job well done. The Federal Home Loan Bank has enjoyed a special partnership with Bridge Housing over the years. Since 1990, Bridge Housing has received more than $33 million from affordable housing funds from the Federal Home Loan Bank of San Francisco, and Berkeley has received almost $9 million for 25 projects, but we want to do more. We look forward to these partnerships continuing and to making new partners and new friends as we do our work, and I want to thank you for letting me be a part of this. Next, we're going to hear from resident Kim Rogers about being a part of this as well. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kim Rogers, and I'm a resident here at Berkeley Way, and I am so excited to be a resident here. I'm really excited. Thank you, Asia, for being so sweet, and Dylan. And I also like to thank my neighbors. The neighbors that I've talked to, they are really friendly and helpful. And I came out, well, back to the Bay Area in this year of March from going to Arizona to take care of my dad for 7 years. And they called me and asked me, was I still interested in moving here? I said, yes, and I was really excited. I would pass by every day to see if they were finished, to see, like, I'm so anxious to get in. And once I had the tour, I was like, yes, this is the right unit for me. I am so, so excited to be here. And I thank you, everyone that had a part in this, for making it affordable to live here, because you know in California, rent is so, so high. So I am happy to be here, and I expect longevity here, and thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kim. And now it's time to cut the ribbon. Thank you all so much for coming. We'd like to invite you up to the Berkeley Way side of the building for a self-guided tour. If you'd like to tour the Hope Center, we'll be guiding you through. Please help yourselves to all the snacks we have here. As Berkeley Food and Housing Project, we couldn't have an event without food. Thank you all.